May contain peanuts. May contain soy, sesame seed, tree nuts. Dried cherries. Made in a facility that handles tree nuts, peanuts, wheat, soy, milk, and eggs. May contain occasional pits. Made in a bakery that may also use soy, milk, tree nuts. That may also use... The name of the company is Bimbo Bakeries. Also contains trace amount of peanut, soy, and tree nuts due to processing on shared equipment. Manufactured on shared equipment. Processed on shared equipment. Manufactured in a facility that also processes peanuts. Made in a facility where some of the employees like to eat peanut butter for breakfast sometimes. That one's not real. Can't really move my arms in this thing. Okay, let's dive into this thing. My name is Dean Bogg, and I am deathly allergic to peanuts. Like about 1% of the population, if I eat even the smallest amount of a peanut, it's not pretty. My body recognizes this as a threat, and my immune system essentially turns on itself. I don't even feel totally comfortable holding this. I'm not a scientist or an allergist or an expert. I'm just a kid with a nut allergy. Despite this heavy-handed piano, having a nut allergy really isn't that big of a deal. Of all the shitty chronic illness cards to be dealt, I think a food allergy is pretty low on the spectrum. That being said, there are a few instances where my allergy is at the front of my mind, the first of which being eating at restaurants. Oh. For nut allergy kids, eating at a restaurant like Casbah here is kind of like skydiving. You're 99.9% sure you're gonna be fine, but when it's life and death, 1 in 1,000 aren't great odds. People keep thinking I'm a waffle. Chinese, Indian, or Thai restaurants like Noodlehead are almost always out of the question, unless they are notoriously careful when it comes to allergens. A lot of the responsibility falls on chefs. When you do get a ticket that says nut allergy or whatever, what is the general protocol?
I mean, getting a clean cutting board, making sure everything's sanitized, and maybe going into like a fresh bag of produce rather than going into what's in the station. You know, doing it away from wherever there's nuts. You know, if there's nuts over here, I'm gonna do it way over here.
It makes a lot of sense for restaurants to be allergy friendly because if you're in a group of 5 and one person has an allergy, you're gonna go to the place where that nut allergy person feels safe. Hello.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You had already made it. The second scenario where my allergy jumps to the front of my mind is when you're swapping spit. That can either be sharing drinks or kissing. I had a really good time tonight. Me too. What have you eaten in the past 8 or so hours? What? What have you eaten? Have you eaten any nuts? I had a banana and like some yogurt. Not even like a Cliff Bar or Chinese food or anything. Oh, you know what? I did have a Quaker Oats chewy bar that I think had some almonds in it. Oh, okay, well. Why? No reason. I have a really bad peanut allergy actually, so I was gonna kiss you, but I could give you a hand job. Yeah, that works. That scenario doesn't really happen. I typically just don't ask. If I've been hanging out with a person for a few hours, I'll watch what they're eating, and if they haven't eaten any peanuts or nuts, I'm assuming it's fine. If I'm kissing someone, they should probably know me well enough to know that I have a really bad peanut allergy. Accidents do happen though, and there are stories of somebody's significant other killing them because they had recently eaten a peanut butter and jelly, per se. The third scenario where my allergy really comes into play is when I'm traveling, specifically when I'm flying.
Okay, thank you. Are there any nuts or peanuts?
I'm sorry, I have no specific information about the meals that come from outer stations.
Gotcha. Totally
I'm
fine.
sorry.
I'll eat the fruit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I think this red stuff is just zucchini and tomato sauce, and then that just looks like kale, so
think I'm good here. I'm kind of a moron when it comes to food. I think the bread might be where I draw the line. It looks a bit risky. I'm pretty sure it's just seeds, but it would suck if they had to land this plane because some idiot with a vlogging camera wanted to try the bread.
If you're a parent that recently found out your baby has a nut allergy, don't panic. As long as you're diligent about carrying epipens, reading food labels, and communicating your allergy effectively, you're gonna be totally fine. Your kid will go through life almost completely normally, and if you're lucky, they'll one day be walking through the grocery store dressed as a peanut. Okay, well, that's it. Grainberry, let's do a real test here.
Jeff Parsons, line 5, please. Jeff Parsons, line 5.
Contains wheat. See, look, most of the stuff in here is totally fine. I was being dramatic earlier with the food labels, although food labels can be extremely frustrating.